Yes, we'll be back from the break. Still watching the Smart Men's Business. I'm Andrew Barije, and of course, on today's discussion, matters to do with the animation industry, which is rising in our country, Uganda. And of course, it's being seen as the potential when it comes to promoting youth livelihoods as a part of the skills which are quite easy to gain and fun to learn, from most especially from the young population, to create jobs, since we constitute the biggest percentage of the population, about 75% being youth in that way. Now, in line with today's discussion, we decided, like I told you, to focus on animations. We want to take a look at how to leverage on the growing animation industry to foster employment for the youth livelihood. And for that reason, I'm joined with Raymond Malinga. He is actually the CEO of Creatures Animation Studio. If you are aware of Kalabanda at My Homework, you can really connect and the Kizazi motto with the Disney, which is also trending out there. And well, he's done quite a great job for the animation industry, of course, winning various awards for this. So we want to understand from his experience, where is the industry heading for the country, Uganda? And is there hope for this industry? Oh, the youngsters should look for something else to do. But of course, otherwise, he will be confirming that. It's a pleasure to have you, Raymond.
It's a pleasure to have you too.
Wow. How is the morning? How is the public holiday taking you?
I think it caught me by surprise. I had forgotten it was the public holiday today. So I'm kind of in work mood.
In the work mood, okay.
Which is good. I'm always in work mood, so it's it's okay. It's fine.
That's beautiful.
How is it taking you?
No more. It's no more. I think I didn't personally. I didn't even know it's a public holiday. Okay. I was coming on the way. I'm seeing a few people on the way. I'm like, what's happening? And somebody told me, hey, today's a public holiday. Well, now heading into today's discussion, and the animation industry, I've met quite a few animators, not so many, because there are not many in this country. We shall be honest, but we have many that are learning animation. Now, taking a look from your point of experience, you've gotten a chance to get exposed to diaspora with working with major companies, studios with animations. Now, how is that opportunity? How are we leveraging on that opportunity to kind of depend on these growing established markets to grow our market in Uganda so that our young people get jobs?
Yeah, so I think one of the ways to think about the opportunity that animation provides to places like Uganda is that we have such a vast untapped potential of storytelling.
Yeah.
In not only Uganda, but in Africa.
Yeah.
And Africa is often ignored when it comes to such industries.
Yeah.
And we used to see that as a disadvantage, but now it's starting to become an advantage.
Okay.
Because as the world is getting familiarized with how the Americans tell their stories, or the Japanese, or the Europeans, there's this need for audiences for something new. Right? And so when they start turning to Africa, they're like, look at the number of stories we have that, like, I don't know, you can even just throw a stone anywhere and just say there's a story there in that culture. Actually, there's a lot of opportunity there.
You know, I've thought many times when we watch the likes of the Greek gods, and you know, we have our gods in Buganda, we have the Batembuzi, we have the Bunyoro Chitara has a lot of stuff, and these are stories that have just been studied in school, but they have not been visualized to create content for commercial purpose. This is a unique angle. We have kingdoms in West Africa. We have these empires, you know, the Benin Empire. I mean, there's a lot to study about.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential. And I think the opportunity is there. You just have to seize it. It's unfortunate that like our governments and the perception of the people in charge is that there is no value here. Yet, funny enough, the people abroad see a lot of value.
Exactly.
They started turning back and saying, wait a minute, there's a whole continent with a vast number of stories that we're tapped into. And I think that that gives me hope for our industry. And that gives me hope for the entertainment industry in general.
Of course, now that brings me back to the aspect of the value. How are we now, as an industry expert, how are we creating this value to ensure that we have stakeholders on board, talking at government partnership and certain organizations to put this into?
So my view is this: like, I believe that while we do want the government to come in, there are some things that we need to do ourselves as stakeholders.
Stakeholders, exactly.
So for example, my focus the past few years, I started my company in 2015.
Okay.
And now we have 12 employees, full-time employees.
Yeah.
And my focus is let me do the things that I can do myself. Which is, can I train people? Can I motivate them? Can we figure out the pipelines? Because it's easy to just say, let's build the animation industry. But what does that actually mean? You can go and study online and find out how animation is being done in, let's say, a company like Disney or DreamWorks or whatever. But when you try to transfer those models to Uganda, you find out very quickly that those models do not work sustainably
in our country, Uganda.
So you have to figure out how to make them work here. So my studio and I have been working the past few years to put in place pipelines, to put in place systems that generate a sustainable approach to making content here. And then when the government comes in, what they do is that they just get those models and supercharge them. Because if they come in and they come in when we're disorganized, you're only just going to supercharge disorganization, if that makes sense, right? So what I've been focused on and what my team has been focused on is just trying to figure out how do we make this, how do we prove a demonstration of success? And that's what we've been doing for the past few years. So since 2015, my aim and my goal and my mandate with my team has been, we have to demonstrate success. We have to show we can make a film. Right? A small one, right? Then we have to show that we can consistently make small films. Now, like you see, right? Like every single month. Then we have to demonstrate that when we go to, let's say, we're going to talk about it later, but let's say with Kizazimoto and Disney, that there is interest from those the foreign let's say players. But that's one aspect of it. You can also go in there and not deliver a movie. So you have to deliver it. And once you deliver it, what happens that when you turn back to the government and you're on the table and you say, look, I did this for these guys. We have been doing this for these past few years. This is how we do it. This is what we need you to do. Right? And that is how you go about it. Because I think it's the people in the government don't animate.
They don't.
You know? They don't.
Exactly.
And I'm not delusional. Like, I know that they don't animate. They're policymakers, right? But they're necessary. But the policymakers are only effective if there's something to make a policy.
Policy for.
You see. So that's the way I think about it.
Now, this is interesting. Now, you've made this movie, you're proving to the government. I want to understand how is the response of the local market in terms of, because I'm trying to consider the aspect of having a universal approach to this, whereby it reflects in the delivery, which whereby a Kenyan can consume this, a Tanzanian can consume this. I don't know. How is the Ugandan reception towards some of this work?
Yeah, so it's very interesting in that. So I'm very self-aware. I am aware that all these are symptoms of an industry in its infancy. And it doesn't matter what industry you're looking at. If you look back at any industry trying to start out in any market, there's some symptoms that show up. Some people are not interested. Some people are not sure. Some people are even doubting it was done here. You know, people, these things are normal, right? And it's just part of the process to get to solidifying the industry. So what is the reception? In the beginning,
a little bit. What you're viewing on your screen is Kalabanda at my homework by the production of Raymond Malinga. So let's proceed with the discussion.
So the thing is, when I came back in 2015, I studied in Malaysia. Right, and I worked.
You studied animation from Malaysia.
I have a degree in.
I'm not surprised.
And so I worked for a studio there as well, and then I quit my job. And I always tell people that it's because Africa was calling. You know, I feel this way that it's very easy to complain about the state of the Ugandan industry when you're not there. But then when you're there, You start understanding, okay, you need to learn the street smarts. How do people think here? And so when I came back in 2015, I started my company with my younger brother, and in a garage. We have a garage story as well. And it was unheard of for somebody to do something like a Calaban date my homework. It was unheard of.
Unheard of, yes, yeah.
And when we started on that journey, I said, we're starting this 2 people, we're ending with a team. That's it, right? And that was, we named our price very early on. That the price was not getting money. I said, if I can make 1,000 shillings, it's fine.
It's fine.
Right? But if I can make 1,000 shillings, that means I can scale it. You know? If I make 0, you can't scale 0. You know? So we went in with this thing, let's get a team. Let's make a little money. You know? Let's just prove that something can be done. Let's say that, can we win an award? You know? Just simple things like that. And we were hoping that people would be interested in what we're doing. But then we also understood that the amount of reception would be proportionate to where the industry is. You know, where the industry is. So it was well received, better than I expected, to be honest. It was better than I expected.
You did some kind of a premiere?
Yeah, we did a premiere. We actually did a premiere at the Design Hub, Kampala. And we got about like 200, 300 people showing up there, which was kind of wild, right?
Paying for the tickets too.
No. We did
it was a free.
You have to understand, you know, like you're not going to ask people to pay for things when they're like, can Ugandans do this? You know? So they came in and they watched it and they loved it, you know. And it started going around, and some people were even thinking it was a Kenyans. We showed it in Nigeria. We won an award in Nigeria, and when we played it in Nigeria, it was funny because the people in Nigeria thought that it was
for Kenyans.
It was Nigerians who had done it.
Oh, the Nigerians thought it was their home people that made it.
Like, wow,
yes.
The Nigerians have come so far. Then they introduced me and I talked and they were like, wait, this is the Ugandan. And then I was like, it kind of showed me where we were and how much we had achieved. So people have become more and more receptive. So the climate of animation now is vastly different from what it was in 2015, 2017. And that means that it's growing. So I've had a front row seat to this, and I see it's growing. So people are getting receptive to it.
People are getting receptive to it. Now, if I may say, the day you got that award in Nigeria, if you're to trace back way that, how did that have an impact on your way of viewing this industry, most especially pointing it to Uganda, in terms of commercializing content?
So when we got that award, you know, what awards do is that they just kind of give you a pat on the back and tell you you're doing the right thing. That's what they do, right? So you get more confidence.
There is no financial reward that comes.
No, there's some of these things. Some of the financial. We got 6 awards in total, and some of them had and it was funny. Ironically enough, we didn't get our first Ugandan award until, I think, a year ago, if I'm not mistaken.
It was a year ago.
Right? But like it's okay, it's fine. But what it did for us is that it made my team have the confidence that what we're doing actually has some value somewhere, you know. And so we just doubled down. We started doing different kinds of projects for people. We started dabbling into explainer videos, right? Helping different industries explain what they want to do using animation. So like if someone was innovating something and they say, hey, I have a new gas cooker, but he doesn't have the money to make the gas cooker but he's looking for financing. What we would do is that we come and design for you that gas cooker and give you and your potential investors the first look at that gas cooker, and then they get the funding. So we found a space there, right? And it was a very interesting approach. Like I've always viewed animation as not just animation for animation's sake, but animation can be applied to any industry.
Any industry.
It doesn't matter. Right?
That brings me to the perspective of incorporating it most especially in the visuals, because I've seen a part of most of the productions we have in our country, Uganda, certain scenes when they're being put out there, they are not quite effective in terms of delivery. So how are we incorporating the animation CGI, ensuring that it combines together with the filming industry? Because some people feel animation is a bit alien to the filming industry, but I think you two people are the same. You're doing the same. It's all like movies, but now I feel like there is a gap there, incorporating this animation bit of it, because you find that in certain productions they have animated backgrounds which are put, and then they actualize them into actual images. How are we bridging that gap to enhance efficiency and productivity?
Yeah, so I think there is an interest in applying visual effects into the film industry here. It's still in its early days. I think what most people don't understand is that animation and visual effects are pretty much the same thing, right? There's two sides of the same coin. Like one is a substitute, the other depending on what your biases are, right? But we are going to move into that direction, like in my studio eventually, right? And I think that there's a lot of opportunity in enhancing creativity and storytelling and shifting it away from the mundane. If we start applying VFX, I do not see a lot of people doing it yet here.
Not yet. I'm till that's why I was saying why don't we incorporate this too? Because there is a huge space.
Technical know-how. People need to. These things are not easy to do. You know, the biggest illusion with animation, visual effects is that the best visual effects goes by unnoticed. That's it. It goes by unnoticed. And so it has the impression of being easy to do. Yet it's so complicated.
I told somebody.
Right? It's so complicated to do that by the time it reaches your screen, our aim is to make you forget that we made it.
We made it.
That's a funny thing, you know? So if you realize that, wow, I'm watching a cartoon or something, we have failed. You know? It almost feels like you've failed. You're supposed to make someone, it's called the suspension of disbelief. That's what they call it. Okay. They say you watch a cartoon character and you start referring to them by name.
By name. You forget that you're watching a cartoon.
You forget that you're watching pixels on a screen, you know? And so I think that the time is coming for VFX. I think it's inevitable. There's only so many stories you can tell without VFX. These days in America, like even the most mundane looking story, a story of, this person is just there and they're home and they're struggling with something. Like, even those movies have VFX these days. It's inevitable. And VFX comes in many packages. It's not only the CG images, there's matte painting, right? There are just so many aspects. Sorry, right off the top of my head, I can't list all of them. But the thing is, there are many avenues to apply visual effects into a film. And so I'm sure like in the next maybe year or so, even this year, you might be seeing more Ugandan movies trying
to do something. Yeah. I've seen quite a huge budgets for some of these animations. You've mentioned visual effects, and they seem to be expensive. According to the interviews I've observed with certain directors, that some reach a point and they prefer doing things naturally. But anyway, that may not be the big issue. The issue here is, how are we using with our scarce resources to ensure that we enhance that quality? Because visual effects this is heavy investment, talking about, because we are talking about global competitiveness, not just producing for the local market. How are we ensuring that within our scarce means, we still deliver that?
Yeah, so one of the things we need to realize that we live in, this is the year 2024. And a lot of information has been democratized, right? And you can actually get this information online. Right? There are many YouTube channels where someone has just done some stuff based on YouTube tutorials.
But YouTube tutorials, do they really give somebody the whole package? Because I feel like somebody who has put a price to something they are studying, there is a higher value compared to somebody that got it free of charge. What you studied, right. Because I feel like what you studied in Malaysia, if I went and I say I want to be like Raymond, I can guarantee, even if we started doing it the same year you went to Malaysia, and me, I said, let me go to the University of YouTube, results would be different. There must be something which...
So this is actually...
like a secret.
This is actually something I have to dispel here.
Yeah.
Right? What people don't understand is that even in my class, some people didn't pass.
Okay.
You have to remember that. Right?
Yeah.
School is very useful. Right? Very useful. What it does is that it gives you a guideline, right? Because YouTube, you can be all over the place, right? And I think that's what results in somebody failing to achieve what someone who went to school went to.
Exactly.
If you have a guideline, you can achieve results, right? If you have the opportunity to go to school, go to school. I would say go to school. But what I would say is find a mentor. Mentor is the most important thing. I believe in mentorship. Like a lot of the guys who are working at my studio, some of them hold diplomas, but you can't compare their diploma with the degree that
the
they
degree
did.
did.
But that doesn't matter. They produced what you just saw, right?
Honestly.
But it's because of mentorship, you know?
Yeah.
If you have someone who can guide you in the right direction, and they know, don't look at that YouTube tutorial. Don't look at this one. Look at that one. Look at that one. You know, that is way more important, you know? Because I think that, so education and the universities and degrees are good for mass impact. Right?
Mass impact,
which is where we need to get to if we actually want to build our industry.
Okay.
Right? But if you're trying to do it personally, find a mentor.
Wow. Raymond Malinga just mentioned that. Find a mentor for that person that is aspiring to be a great animator like he is. Well, we're going to take a short break. I'm still returning with Raymond, and we're still breaking matters of animation and artificial intelligence. There is something that actually just came out this morning. Shall talk about that, but don't scared. However much there is a saying that nobody's safe, but there is always a way out everywhere. Artificial intelligence in animation and how far the evolution of technology is impacting the animation industry in our country, Uganda. Stick around.
Smart 24, driving business.
These holidays, you don't need to go far to find the best entertainment.
Have I got a surprise for you?
All you need to do is stay connected to DSTV.
I'm so excited.
Pick your moment of fun and share it with your family.
Oh, that's gorgeous, yeah.
Overpowering.
Pass the keeper, Jude Bellingham.
Pick the best stories and share them with your friends.
Max Verstappen wins.
Pick your moment to shine with the world's hottest stars.
Juventus get their goal. Alert!
Because it's your moment to hang out with the characters you love.
That's exactly what I do.
Whether you're at home or on the move, make it a holiday to remember.
This is the final round. Ain't gonna stop me now.
Because these holidays, it's your moment to enjoy the best entertainment. So get and stay connected to DSTV to enjoy every moment.
Fred!
Osmosis.
Freddy! Fred Dollar, my boss, CEO Inojo, the general of generals, the conqueror of conquerors, the first and the final, the sky above the skies, the promised land, the terms and the conditions, the international king crocodile, the source of the Nile.
I don't have money today.
Just take a polite loan of 200k to stock on my shop. The signs and symptoms of success. The bank commander, not the bank teller.
Why hassle for a loan when you've got MTN Momo? We're so tingy. Use the Momo app or dial *165*5# for all quick loans. Choose from the different loan options from our partners and get one that works for you. Together, we're unstoppable.
Smart 24, driving business.
Twenty-nine minutes to the top of the hour. Andrew Barije, Smart Means Business, and I'm with Raymond Malinga. He is the CEO, Preachers Animation Studio. It's here in Uganda. But of course, before we proceed, still to remind you, Smart 24 TV on our social media handles. You can on Twitter, you can follow us at Smart 24 TV. Yes, we post discussions. You can always engage, of course, business, economic related. You give your opinions regarding your livelihood as an individual. And of course, on Facebook at Smart24 TV Official, you can still find us there as we keep on posting these business related discussions. Now, for those of you that are obsessed with gadgets, you can go to your Google Play Store and download the Smart Digital application. And the great aspect about this is that when you have the Smart Digital application, you will be in position to stream Smart24 TV, stream NBS Radio, and also stream Smart FM. So that's the beauty of that all under DSTV. For those with the decoders, channel 372 and channel 320 on GOTV. We are regional. You can catch us all across Africa. And of course, grateful from all our viewers across Africa, North Africa, West Africa, Lithoso. Grateful for the love out there. And of course, we can never stop giving you the business-related updates. And Smart24.tv, if you're a business researcher, we have all the updated facts regarding business. You're probably doing your research work to handle to get good grades. Well, Smart24.tv is the home for you there. And at Plot 42 Nile Avenue, that's the home of Smart24 TV, where I am currently coming live as we put out these discussions. Now, Raymond, before we went through the break, we discussed something. We had promised to talk about what has happened. Now that links me straight to the element of technology, the evolution of technology on the animation industry. And of course, when I talk about technology, AI comes in mind. Artificial intelligence.
Yeah. So I was just mentioning to you during the break about a company, OpenAI. OpenAI, they're the ones who made
ChatGPT. Yeah.
And so now, just this morning, like just a couple of hours ago, they released a
platform
called Sora.
Sora, yes.
And Sora is a text-to-video.
Text-to-video.
So text-to-video has actually existed. Even like last year, it was there, but it was really wonky. And people like, in 5 years, what they just released is very, very disruptive.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel like, is my job going to be there in the next
few years? Yeah.
Not even next few years, probably next few months. It feels like that.
It's developing so fast.
But I think one of the things that I find very exciting about something like artificial intelligence is that it almost makes it possible for it's a great equalizer to me. Things that could only be done at high budgets by large studios are now going to be able to be done by smaller studios. Right? And that's the exciting aspect of it. So like in my studio, we've already started incorporating artificial intelligence.
Okay.
But we're using it to, so I told my team, anything that's repetitive, anything that is a task that stifles your creativity, where you're wasting time, let us find a way to use automated tools to figure that out.
Yeah.
Because you should be focusing on what is your gift, which is being human, right?
Interesting, the creativity.
And it's one of the, so like artificial intelligence doesn't scare me the way a lot of people scare. I am aware of the disruptiveness of it, but I am also aware of the opportunity it creates.
It creates, yeah.
I think the greatest gift we have as human beings is the gift to imagine.
Imagine. Absolutely.
When there were no planes, somebody said, what if we could fly? And that power there is something that we need to lean into. And artificial intelligence, in my opinion, what it does is that it just gets rid of anything that isn't human.
Okay, yes, absolutely.
And it makes us lean into humanity. So as long as we're on the cutting edge of not technology, of creativity, you have nothing to worry about.
Well, that's interesting. So in Uganda, you say you're already incorporating automation tools.
Yeah.
Can I say there is what is the cost benefit analysis if you're to weigh that with the AI? Because at some point, unless when maybe we have these services for free. I'm talking about the plugins that we get, because I think there is also a cost to having automated features.
Yeah. I think like there's a huge cost to it, because benefit to it rather. In that, as I already mentioned, that now it's able for us. We have the ability to dream of concepts and things here.
That should be the time. So we should spend most of our time dreaming of concepts.
Like dream. Like I'm a big believer in dreaming. I just love dreaming.
Okay.
I just think that it's the greatest thing you can do. I can sit here and say, hey, we come up with something here that has never existed before, you know? And artificial intelligence can give you the impression of creativity, but it is based on human creativity. So as long as you're on the cutting edge of creativity and you're aiming to be more and more creative, artificial intelligence will then, after you've created it, it sucks it up, right? But then that's not the problem. You just go and create more. You understand? So I think that I'm not really worried about that, and especially with like Uganda and Africa, whereby a lot of our stories are not even documented, right? So I think when a story comes out from Uganda, it's going to be very fresh, you know?
Absolutely.
It wasn't even documented. I don't think the artificial intelligence even has it in its database.
It doesn't have that. Absolutely. There is no way it will have a pattern to tell the story unless somebody feeds it data and
will
gets
eventually
it.
Happen. It will eventually happen. But I'm speaking like generally as a human being. One of the most powerful things we can do is to dream, is to imagine, you know, and to be creative. And I am excited about leaning more into that. That's what I live for. And I feel like if that's the world that we're going to live in, then so be it.
So be it. Great. Oh, wow, interesting. And now still, I come in line with...
I hope these words don't come to bite me in the...
No.
I have no job. I'm on an interview in 3 months.
But it can happen, man.
But who knows?
It can happen. It can't really happen. Now, that brings me back to the aspect of intellectual property. Because most of, from the innovation side, when I've been interacting with innovators, some people had this perspective of, hey, I fear to put this thing out because, hey, somebody will steal my idea. But like you mentioned, our stories are not yet documented anywhere, so it is still fresh. So, but that doesn't mean we should be reluctant on copyright in intellectual property. So are we looking into that, securing now, like your works, in terms of the concepts?
So according to law, you already have inherent rights if you create something, but then obviously if you want to benefit from it, you should get a copyright and you should get a trademark and all these things, right? I would say that this is something that is very important if you want to make a viable industry and if you want to grow and benefit from it. You know, sometimes I feel like people worry about, oh, someone's going to steal my idea. And they're going to steal your idea, but like, I don't know, like just focus on creating stuff, you know? I don't
focus on somebody taking your idea.
I don't know. I feel like somebody can go and take Calabanda and do something else. I think somebody actually did it. Somebody tried to do something. And I was just like, it's still not a Calabanda ate my homework, you know, right? It's still not that. But that being said, it is important. If you want to benefit on a large scale, economically and financially, you should have a copyright and trademark. And these are things that we are looking into. But the problem, as I told you, we are an industry in its infancy. There are a lot of things to tackle here. There's just even the question of labor force, labor force, right? There's just even that, you know. So you're protecting something without skilled labor. To me, it just doesn't make sense. I feel like I'm trying to address pipelines, systems, skilled labor. I'm trying to address these things. Then we protect it, you know. That's what I feel.
So you know, you mentioned something. We don't have yet skilled labor.
It's difficult to come by someone who knows how to fit into an animation pipeline.
Okay, but if that labor was to exist. I mean, because like we made an introduction earlier on, because we are in the infancy stage, and now we are in a time even when economically we are not a bit functioning well. So people end up not doing the things they actually studied for. So what is the justification that as I get a degree, because I know universities that have animations and visual effects, that I'm going to settle somewhere and you know, we have expectations of, because I've spent a lot of money to study this, and I know when I get a job in a certain company, I'm going to be earning like 1.5 million. All those are expectations. So how are we dealing with that for the youngsters that are rising up?
So we in my studio we have a very interesting model. So I recognize the fact that in Uganda it doesn't matter who you hire. They're always going to be doing something else on the side.
Okay.
It does not matter. Even you here. This is your job, but I know you have some other stuff to do on the side, right?
Maybe.
Right? Not on camera.
Yes.
Anyway,
it's
so,
okay.
so anyway, but the thing is this, like, so the model I used is like my teammates and I, they do work full time.
Yeah.
But and we do pay them. But I give them 2 days in the week.
Off.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's a model we've been using for the past 2 years. And so, like with Kunda and Friends, that kids show, the show that we've been doing, right? We did 15 episodes last year, working 3 days a week, you know. And the reason why I did this is because you have to understand the climate that you're working in, you know. And my teammates, they have to deliver, yes, because we pay them.
Pay them, yeah, they have to.
But because of the flexibility of the other days off, they get the chance to do something else, you know, right? And manage their own time. So this is just my model, right? I'm not saying it's perfect. Who knows? We might be talking here next year and I'm saying everyone, they're even working 8 days a week. Who knows, right? But the thing is that right now, after a few years into working in Uganda, I realized that it is not sustainable to ask somebody. It's also not realistic to ask somebody to work 9 to 5, 5 days a week.
9 to 5, yeah.
5 days a week in my industry when the figures that are coming into my industry are not high enough to justify that, right? Maybe in most established industries here, it makes sense. But like in mine, it doesn't make sense. But funny enough, as we start growing and growing and growing, I'm finding it like I might actually not remove those days. I might.
It should stay the way it is.
I think that it seems to be a model that might work for us, you know, here in
because for the first 2 years you've already seen results with that model.
Yes, and that's the thing. And also like not fatigue. You know, the fatigue. People are still excited to come to work. You get what I mean?
Okay.
And it's really it's an experiment. I'll tell you that. It's a big experiment, and I'm here talking about it. And who knows what I'll be saying like in about a year or even a month. Might go back to office today and then I say, oh no, guys, we're working 5 days a week. Who knows, right? But then the thing is that I think that we have to be flexible, and even the youngsters, like what they're looking for. These kids these days, you know, they're looking for opportunity to express themselves, freedom, you know, that's what they are like. The social media is telling them that person is traveling the world,
yeah,
you know. So you have to look at what's going on. You have to listen to them, you know, because this solution did not come from me. It came from talking to my teammates and understanding the dynamics of how they operate and saying, okay guys, this is what we're going to do. Right? And if you don't do it, we remove a day. If you don't do it, we remove a day. You get it, right? And so we've kind of come to this 3-day work week situation, and it's working for us right now. And obviously when the projects become a little more demanding, I think that there might be a little more, I think that there has to be a correlation with what you're asking people to do versus what you're giving them back. You know, and that's what I think. So if I'm giving you way more money, I think I get to say, hey, here's a 4th day. Can you
put in more?
Yeah. But if come on, man, if I'm asking you, you have bills to pay, you have a life to live, and then I'm asking you to do all this stuff, right? I don't blame you when in about a couple of months you want to leave. I don't blame you. You know, so this is just my strategy thus far, but it's learning. Well, it's learning as well.
Definitely, if it's working out for you, then it's worth it.
For now.
It's gonna get better. Okay. Now, and still in line with that, if we are to consider, you see, most of the people when they're doing this animation work, it's more of a side sort of not full time, but you're doing it full time because if you can operate a week, that's. Stay 2 days off a week. So that means Monday, January to December, you're operating this.
Yeah, I do animation.
Don't you think if people are really, because there is this, we are scared here in Uganda because we feel like if I mentioned that I want to be a full-time animator, a full-time movie director, it's not, it's how do you even, what does it take really for somebody? People need to understand that it is possible. Anything in line with art, being, for example, you could be a voice actor and you say, I want to be a voice actor full time.
Yeah. So this is my view. My mandate to myself and to my team is we have to demonstrate success.
Demonstrate success.
It's the only way. I cannot convince anyone. If I was sitting here in this interview, and I did not have the Disney thing, I did not have the Kunda and Friends, or we didn't have Kalavanda, there's a way I'm viewed a bit differently. You understand?
Absolutely.
So everything we do ever since we started was we have to demonstrate success. We have to have milestones. So that when I go out there and say, you can be a voice actor, right? Someone says, I can see it, you know? So what does it take? We have to move with intention, right? So everything we're doing, I can't say that I said I knew that we're going to get the Disney, I was going to direct a Disney film. But looking back, I'm like, I look at it and I say, everything that we were doing and the mindset we had in our team was leading to that. Anyway, right? And there are more things going to come, right? Already, some things already in place. They're already about to start happening. And the more success we get, right? The more parents who watch this thing, they say, maybe my child could do that.
Could also do that.
You see, right? Yeah. And that's my model is demonstration of success. You know, I cannot come onto your news station without a demonstration of success. I have to.
You have to demonstrate the success.
Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, I know the climate I was in when I asked my parents, hey, I want to go and study animation, which was a crazy climate. Like, it was back then, you know?
I know.
And my parents were like, God bless them. I don't even know. I don't know what they were on to allow me to do
animation
back then. Because if you think it's crazy now, imagine back then.
Back then, how did
2010, 2009 there. And I feel like now there are more people interested in animation and there are more people involved in it than there were back then. And so it has been growing. And I've seen it firsthand. And as long as we keep on succeeding, and not only me, any other person who's trying to do this, always focus on a demonstration of success. You know, you have to, right? You have to look for it. You have to seek for it, you know, and then you have to talk about it. You have to show people that it has happened.
It has happened. Now, finally, there is something that is happening. Recently, Zambia, I think Netflix released an animation. Was it Zambia? Yeah. You're aware of it? You're aware of the animation?
Yeah.
I think it did. I don't know that it was locally produced, but my worry is that we are seeing a lot of infiltration of big production studios in Africa. It's good because it's a way to enhance our ability. But what if it could also be a way of frustrating the local production houses that we have? Are we looking, like you as the industry players, the local industry players, do you look into that in some time to future, that what if these companies, and Netflix is becoming a whole new issue here? You know, let me tell you something. I told somebody, have you ever watched a movie and it's based on a storyline in Argentina? No, but Netflix has stories from Spain and all that. That's a unique model. It's becoming a colonial master in some sort of a way. And it's infiltration. Now it's going not only in Europe, Asia, now Africa. That means they come with their machinery, their equipments, their own expatriates that work on this, and Africa is left out. That, to me, when I see in the future, it scares me. I don't know what, as you industry players, what are you doing about that?
So that's a very good point. And it's something that weighed on my mind for a very long time.
Yeah.
You know, it was my concern. And to some degree, it still is my concern. Just shout out to, it's called Super Team 4. It's
Super
on
Team
Netflix,
4. Yeah.
So you know what it is, right?
Okay.
Also, Kizazimoto. We haven't talked about Kizazimoto a lot, but if we can.
We shall.
Okay.
We have time.
So in regards to what you just asked, my view is this. We have to use every opportunity we can, but we have to be vigilant.
Yeah.
Very vigilant. So the advantage we have is that any of these global players, whoever they are, right, they do not understand the nitty-gritty of what makes Uganda.
Okay.
They do not.
They don't.
Right?
Yeah.
So we'll always have that advantage. Like, I'll give you this example. If you try to write a story about someone two people dating in New York City, right? If you've never been to New York City, never lived there.
Of course, exactly, yeah.
So you can pay somebody in New York City to make for you that thing, right? And you can also be seen as an infiltrator, right?
Absolutely.
But the thing is that you don't understand New York City. So my view is this. It is a matter of time. Given enough time, yes, that will happen, right? But if our local players or local investors, if they wake up before then, we can capitalize on the
opportunities. Yeah.
Because we exist in a very unique time.
Yeah.
Whereby this conversation we're having right now is probably the only time we're going to be able to have this conversation of, can we own it?
Can we own it? Exactly.
Every day that passes by, we lose that it's becoming less and less of a reality of us owning our own space. So I feel like while it is a concern, I feel like we have to use any opportunity we have. And if Disney comes and Disney is giving me the opportunity, it's not that I didn't go to the local players here. I went to them.
You went to them.
They just didn't see any value in it.
Okay.
So when someone turns back and says, why are you working with Disney? I say, why didn't you give me the opportunity? I pitched the same story to you guys and you didn't say yes. And I pitched it to them and they said yes. And now you ask me. So I would say I would use any opportunity, and I do not fault anyone who does. But I do know that nearly every single filmmaker that is on this continent, their heart is here, and they would rather be doing it for here.
From Africa.
They would rather be doing it for here. So if somebody wakes up, if I get the money, I will invest in people here, right? But for now, we'll use any opportunity.
Any opportunity that comes.
Yeah, and we should be grateful for it, because how many years ago we are not getting those opportunities? So let's be grateful.
Let's be grateful. She's as a motto now.
Yeah.
She's as a motto.
Yeah.
Our request the producer to give us a trailer of Kizazi Moto as he gives us a preamble on that.
Yeah, so Kizazi Moto is a 10-part anthology, right? That was made by Disney Animation, right? And Triggerfish Animation Studios in South Africa.
Okay.
And it's from 6 different African countries. And Uganda is one of them. So I directed the episode 1 Uganda, episode 1. It's really cool to be episode 1.
Okay.
And my film was actually a futuristic take on cattle herders.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was and it had like some call out to the Bachwezi.
That's great. I mean,
so which is really cool. So like when you watch the film, you're like, this is what makes me feel like creativity is the best tool we have as human beings.
Wow.
In a world filled with technology. Because it's kind of madness when you think about it. It's like cattle herders, futuristic.
I mean, yeah,
right?
Exactly. I mean, yeah.
So Kizazi Moto was great because I got not only did I get to direct and write the film and get a wealth of experience, 5 of my teammates actually got their first Disney credits as well. So, which is actually my greatest achievement. It's not directing. My achievement is actually getting my teammates.
They also come with financial gains, right?
Right? Yeah.
I like that.
With some financial gains, but I think money is fleeting.
Of course, yeah.
But the thing is, knowledge.
That knowledge, yeah.
Yeah, so you go in there and learn how one of these things is made. And those are the things that we're actually applying to our studio here now. You get it? So, of course, we also had voice actors who were Ugandans, and then we had Florence Kasumba, who was in Black Panther. Black Panther.
You got Florence Kasumba on board.
She voiced the lead female.
I think I need to get on board too.
Right? You have a fantastic voice, by the way.
Thanks.
I'm always auditioning. We have a joke. My brother and I have this joke. In animation, we're always auditioning. Listening for voices. Okay. So the thing is that I'm going to now have people coming and speaking at me. You know? But I think like Kizazi Moto was such an incredible experience.
Yeah.
There were 14 directors in total. Some projects had two directors.
Yeah.
Mine I directed mine, and it's just incredible to see that a Ugandan and Ugandans were involved in a high production of this level. And so like I have a very different viewpoint of all these things because I've been in some of these rooms. I've handled that kind of production and I have delivered. And so when I come back, I come and tell my team, it is possible.
It's possible we can do it.
We can do it too, you know. But we have to be very, very intentional about our moves, you know. So that's it.
You know, I mean, I've had the the movie Transformers, the latest Transformers. A gentleman known as Paul Bwenje.
He actually worked at my studio. He
works at your studio.
He was my first employee.
Paul Bwenje.
Yeah, he works at Weta.
Yes.
Yeah.
His studio was contracted to make Transformers, the latest, the what was the last part? The recent Transformers, Rise of the Beast. Rise of the Beast.
Yeah. And then he's also working on the Planet of the Apes movie that's coming out right now. He was my first employee. I actually trained him.
The gentleman I'm hosting today, his first employee was actually the man behind the visual effects of Transformers, Rise of the Beasts. Interesting.
Yeah,
we are progressing.
Then I remember he told me, Raymond had this opportunity to go and study in Canada.
Yeah.
I got a recommendation from where I'm working. And I was like, sure, go ahead, you know? And like, I just feel like you just have to put positive energy out in the world, you know? Because now I know that if you release somebody, I know someone in Weta is watching my work.
It's watching your work. Absolutely, absolutely.
It's fantastic, you know? And it's actually fun. You didn't know that Paul was actually...
I did know that. I just Paul Wanger. I'm like, okay, he's a Ugandan. As I was excited with it because the visual effects are just way mind-blowing, Transformers. And the fact that you are chosen by, I think it wasn't James Cameron that directed, was it Michael Bay? Michael Bay who directed
I can't remember
The Rise of the Beast?
Who directed the...
Okay. Regardless, but I know such a direction calls for hyper skill in terms of delivery because you're producing for box office grossing millions of dollars of money. I mean, they're spending a lot of money. Visual effects companies.
Just getting your credit there.
The credit alone.
He works as an animator in Weta.
Weta.
And I think I'm extremely proud of him, you know? And people...
So you groomed him to get where he is?
Yeah, he was the first guy. When Calabanda was just being made, like he was the first employee we had in the garage. Yeah. So,
wow.
So I'm happy for him wherever he's going, like, and what he's doing. So.
Maybe he's watching right now, streaming live stream. All right, thanks, Paul. I mean, I called you Paul. I almost called you Paul.
Okay. Paul in spirit.
Paul in the spirit. I've been with Raymond Malinga. He's a CEO of Visual, that is Animation Creatures Animation Studio. And we've been breaking down the concept of animations in our country, Uganda, and where is the future at considering the current trends and the current climate in our country, Uganda. And well, that is it for Smart 24 TV. For Smart Means Business this morning. Today it's a public holiday, a general day. And of course, for those that are watching home seated, well, that's quite incredible for you. So you need to take time, relax up, think about the previous week, what didn't go right, and see how best we can strategize to actually make it better in the next week. Here on Smart 24 TV, we're here to give you all these tips across all sectors. And today we decided to dedicate this to those into the animation industry. Well, till next week, have yourselves a wonderful day and happy weekend at the same time. Interesting.
I didn't know that.